afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC in Christ Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television two different ways. Locally, you can find us on channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's North Alabama. Then you can also find us worldwide. That's Abundance TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget, you can also find us on the web, and you can download our apps also. They're free of charge. And it says go to the Apple Store, but you know what? It is free. So go ahead and download those. If you would like to hear your particular music, you can do that real easy too. And so it's a whole lot of fun. Roger Wooten is with me right now. Roger, I had one of our listeners got in contact with me the other day, and she said, well, hon, I'd like to request, but I don't want to add more work onto what you do. And I said, well, really, you're taking work away from us when you do it because it's all automated. So you just go in.
Yeah.
I said, but you can only do 2 an hour now. Don't load me up.
One less decision for you.
There you go. I'm into that. Of course, I like what I do, so it's not really work to me. I have Roger Wooten with me. He is actually a instructor for the EMS program at my favorite college. Everybody knows about this, Northeast Alabama Community College, located kind of, you guys are kind of split. So you're in Jackson County and you're also in DeKalb County.
Yeah, the college actually, to my understanding, splits the county lines.
It sits right on the line. So
not evenly, but it is a county line runs somewhere across this campus.
Well, in DeKalb County, we say most of it's our way. And then Jackson County goes, no, it's us. But anyway, it's awesome. Yeah. You on the show today. Thank you so much for coming on and for everything you guys do at college.
Well, thank you for the kind words. We just got word recently that we're one of the top community colleges in the nation still. We were happy to hear about that with retention and 4 other areas that I can't recall right now, but we're nationally recognized, and that's nice for those of you who are familiar with our campus in a rural area. You know, we're not metropolitan. We're not downtown somewhere. We're just out here on the highway.
Yeah, you don't have to be, but I'm going to tell you something. I graduated from high school in 1977, and you guys have changed a lot since 1977. And I'm talking great. Dr. Campbell has done, you guys, he's got great leadership.
Well, he announced yet another new building that's in the architectural stages right now. And it'll house a lot of our industrial training programs and upgrade those areas. And a softball field. Did you know about that? Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Yes. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, we're going to try to organize ladies softball.
That is
campus.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about EMS. What kind of careers can come out of taking a class or classes with you guys as an instructor?
Most people think about a fire department, paramedic, or an ambulance service, and those are still the staples of emergency medical services training, which is actually 3 levels. EMT is the first level, and that's 1 semester. And some people will get that one and work in business or industry as a safety coordinator, for example, or part of the safety team in an industry. And then those who generally make a career on the ambulance or in a fire department with a helicopter, flight service, or so forth, will proceed on to the paramedic courses. The paramedic program is a 2-year program. And there's the ambulance, fire, flight, industrial safety. Some of my friends have worked on offshore oil rigs. Something like 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. They fly back and forth to the oil rig with a helicopter. They'll take them out there, whatever. But it's really more varied. Some folks are working in hospitals, ERs, not in this area as much, but around the country. So
well,
it's not like when I started. Mostly the county was covered with volunteer rescue squads many years ago, and it seemed like every community in the county had one. But now it's, most of us are working or have worked for paid services now. So it's really progressed in the past several years since I started.
Oh, yeah.
which
Tell us
was, I
about,
started volunteering in 1986. So that's been a year or two.
okay. Yeah, just a couple of years back.
Yeah.
So tell us about your background. You just mentioned a little bit about it, but what brought you to this point to be an instructor?
I was fortunate. Just blessed. I had been at the cab ambulance service, is the only ambulance service that I've worked at as a paid EMT and paramedic. I had been there about 10 years. And one of the mistakes that I made was I would take every extra shift I could get my hands on. Well, we worked 24-hour shifts.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
worked a lot of 48 hours straight and more than I should have 72 hours, 3 days. I burned out.
You must have lived on
I'm,
coffee.
I did. That's where I learned to drink coffee, as a matter of fact. I sure did. And so I began to look at something outside of the EMS field because I worked in it too much. Several of my friends and fire department friends did something else, construction or lay flooring or the hosiery industry, something else if they wanted to supplement their regular salary. Well, I worked myself to death. And so I had an opportunity to come out here and teach part-time. At that time, Mike Kinnemer, I'm sure you know Mike.
Yeah, everybody knows Mike.
He was the program director for the EMS program here, the first full-time program director for this program. So I worked for him part-time for 1 or 2 semesters. And they decided that another full-time position should be opened up to help him grow the program. And I applied and was chosen, and here I am 27 years later. So I worked part-time at the ambulance service and full-time here for an additional 9 or 10 years, but it got to be more than I wanted to maintain. So I resigned from the ambulance service, and I've been just doing this now for the past 20 something years.
That's awesome. You'll get a kick out of this. My husband often says I should be, based on how I drive, I should be an ambulance driver.
Well, I actually
call it either that or UPS, one of the two.
That's one of the classes that I teach here is the ambulance driving certification exam course, because you have to have it in Alabama. And so I tell my students, I said, now the fastest we're going to get on my course is about 30 miles an hour. You really the course, the first class someone takes for that is really about realizing that you have a large vehicle, because some of the people that have taken this course have never driven anything larger than, say, a Honda Civic. It's quite a bit different. So just being aware of your surroundings and how large the vehicle is and how to handle a top-heavy vehicle on slower courses really is the first course a person should take. And then there's additional training after that, usually with an employer. So it's not as scary. You just, our students have to learn to use the side mirrors and not a rear view mirror. And you can't turn around. There's nothing to see but the back of the ambulance. And so that's an exciting day when we all come together and actually get them in the ambulance. We have a training ambulance here on campus. That's a pretty eventful day.
I bet it is. Are there natural abilities that you should have, or could it be taught to be an ambulance driver?
You need to be able to meet certain physical job requirements, lifting and things of that nature. I believe right now it's 125 pounds by yourself and double that with 2 people. So the criteria, just the physical criteria, it means something. Of course, a high school GED, a GED or a high school diploma or equivalent, something like that. But just the physical ability and the cognizance to make decisions on our own, because there's no one out there that's tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, I'm your supervisor. You do it this way and do it that way. So we help our students to realize you are the decision maker when you're on the scene under the direction of your medical control physician back at the emergency department. So not everybody, if I had to take 14 medications for ADHD, I might not be able to do that. I might look like a spider trying to get out of, I don't know. It's most people though that come into this profession that enroll here on campus, they already know something about it. It's not a total surprise to them. Matter of fact, in the 20-something years I've been here, I've only had one student on the first night of class orientation to open her textbook. And there's an atlas in the back of that textbook of injuries, actual photographs. And she almost got sick at her stomach and did not realize what being an EMT is. And she said, this is not for me. And I said, well, you know what? It's a good thing that you realize that now, because you can go and change your major. And she did, and studied something a little less, as she said, this is gruesome, I believe was her word. Anyway.
That's true. It's nice to know that up front. Absolutely. So what would be a typical day of an employee? There is no
say if that on an ambulance service, or fire department. A typical day would be non-typical, quite frankly.
That was a crazy question for you.
You really, most people's exposure to EMS who really don't know is learned on television. And well, that's not exactly the way it works in real life. Those programs choose the most exciting, the most adrenaline dropping parts of their reality shows to televise. You may set a day and run 2 or 3 calls that are not emergencies and be quite bored, have a lot of cleaning of the station and the ambulance and things like that to fill your time. And then there's days you can't keep up with it all, and they're emergency after emergency after emergency. And so there's a variety. The parts that I enjoyed about the profession when I was on the truck was not being indoors all day. Now, there were some bitter cold days, some scorching hot days that I would have liked to have not been there, but for the most part, you're still outdoors running a variety of calls. And some days you just wished you were somewhere else. Because I ran in a 24-hour shift, the most number of calls that my partner and I answered was 20. In 24 hours, we responded to 20.
Oh my God.
I think it was 21 calls.
That's a busy day.
Oh, that wore us slap out. And I'll never forget that day. It was a rough one. But most days are not like that. It's not that bad in this area, in our rural area. But it varies. It's not the same thing every day. 2 sick calls for different sicknesses, 2 motor vehicle crash calls have different components to it. Some need extrication, some do not. It's a variety.
That's
probably why I liked it. Probably depends on weather too, because we have icy. Now for you folks up north who are listening right now, you make fun of us every time we get the threat of snow because we're running the grocery store bang on the middle of the bread. But now ours is different than yours. You have this really pretty fluffy snow. We get ice, which is totally different than what they get. So I would imagine, and some of our boys, want to run around and say, hey, y'all watch this and all that. And then they get into trouble, get into accidents. So I'm pretty sure they're busier on days like that. We have had some challenges, of course, because we are not prepared in the South to deal with that kind of weather on the long term. And when the roads are treated here, it's the major intersections and the major thoroughfares. The back roads, the little county roads, they don't get treated. But in 1993, where were you in 1993, the blizzard of 93?
I was in Oxford, Alabama.
Oh, well, you're
We were included.
very understanding. Yeah, we got a call. My partner and I got a call that morning. We had no idea anything had happened. I think we reported to duty on a Friday, and I think it was a Friday night that snow fell. We got a call before the end of our shift at 7 a.m. the next morning. It was daylight. We opened the garage doors. What in the world? And we could. Well, we had to. Ultimately, the National Guard and Humvees responded to a lot of the calls in the county because our ambulances were just not equipped. Mm-hmm. We were limited on what we could do. So that was a lot of improvisation that weekend to get people to the hospital.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I always kind of thought about this, that it would be the one time if I were pregnant that I would go into labor on something like that,
Oh, yeah.
Day like that. Can't you wait? So, I mean, we just never know. And then tornadic, we have extremes here. And so it could be tornadic or, a lot of rain. Sometimes we'll just get not like Kentucky, but we get lots of rain here sometimes. When it happens, and that causes problems.
And the humidity to go with it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times people learn the hard way, heat exhaustion, heat stroke.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get out and work the garden, for example. Mm-hmm. When it's maybe 95% humidity and 85 degrees out, that don't work very well. And so we don't see a lot of cold emergencies, but the folks up north, of course, do. And we don't see a lot of cold emergencies. We don't work a lot of cold emergencies. We're not by an ocean, so we don't do that many drownings or near drownings, but we have our fair share in the summer.
Yeah.
So we have Little River Canyon. We get to do some fall recovery.
But you know what? That's probably Roger, folks who are not from here and they don't understand. We're going to blame it on folks who are not from here, and they don't judge it correctly like we do, because they're not aware of it. And I mean, you really can't get hurt. Let's talk to high school students right now who are thinking, what am I going to do? And you parents who are out there, you listen to it and have a long discussion with your kids. What would they need to really, really concentrate on as far as their field of study in high school to be ready for a class with you?
At the the tech schools offer health programs, and I don't know what the whole entire criteria is for what's covered there, but it sure is a good start. Now, at Rainsville, I know there's a program, and in Marshall County there's a program where there are instructors there teaching emergency medical responder and components of firefighting and helping those students to become firefighters and EMTs right out the gate of high school. And they have some pretty awesome programs. But that's what I would concentrate on if I knew what I know now is take some of the health classes, learn the human body ahead of time. You don't have to learn it in great detail at microcellular level, just the basic function of the human body, the structure of the human body. That would be my advice to them in the high school arena. Mm-hmm. But one thing that youngsters and parents might think about is it only takes one semester to earn an EMT license. One semester. So that's not like earning a bachelor's or a master's degree and then figure out I hate my job. So right. One semester invested, get your feet wet in the field, in the profession, and see if you like it with just one semester. Now that's not paramedic level. They won't get to do as much cool stuff as the paramedics, but they'll get in the field and work the schedule, mm-hmm. the seasons, the challenges. And if they don't like it, they've got one semester of a skill and knowledge they can use the rest of their lives. if their family or friends get hurt. And so it's kind of like a lifelong investment for those who want to see if they might like it and might enjoy it. It's still going to be something they can use for the rest of their lives.
Oh, I think so. And then also, if they choose dual enrollment while they're in high school, and then go take that, get that certification as well. My goodness, you're way ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, one of the things that I've recognized on some of the dual enrollment students is they've already completed all of their English and math and social sciences, things like, and they're ready to go right into whatever technical area of study it is that they want to learn. That's pretty awesome. But we hold our EMT classes on Thursday evenings from 6 until 10, and then all day on Saturday, because most people who are in the first level, EMT level, are not working at an ambulance service. They're working 5 days a week. And we have found that hosting that class on Saturdays has really given a lot of opportunity to people who otherwise would not have that opportunity. Right now, I have 13 students in the Saturday class, and building back up from COVID, we're happy with that.
Yeah,
I'd like to see about 18 in another semester or two, but it's a rebuilding process after the COVID.
How much does the ability of adrenaline fit in to this job?
The ability of what?
Adrenaline.
You have to learn to control it.
We all burnout to not control it, couldn't
it? Well, a constant without any rest or relaxation of the stresses of the job will cause burnout. And that is kind of a problem that we're facing now nationwide because of the COVID. So many people have left the profession. I'm happy, it makes me happy that there's some young people who are young enough and have the resilience to come in and fill some of those spots. But we're not filling them as fast as people have left the profession, but we'll recover. I'm sure that time will come to pass.
What kind of money what kind of income do you generally start out as? And then what would it normally typically build up to?
Build up to in this area, $18 to $20 an hour, I think right now is pretty typical.
Wow.
And that's happened in probably the past 5 years or so. We've seen a significant increase in wages / salaries. It depends on what position you hold, because nationwide we are struggling in this area, in this profession, to fill the last time I looked at the projected growth nationally at the federal website, EMS was rated at an annual growth for the next, I don't remember if it's 5 years or 10 years, somewhere around 20 or 30%. And of course, one of those criteria was that those of us, my age, we're going to be retiring, and there's a lot of us. Well, what is that era we're in? Oh man, we were born during
baby boomers.
Baby boomers, yeah. The pre-Vietnam, Vietnam era, and all that. Well, those of us who are baby boomers, we're going to need some help. We're aging. We're aging, and it's going to take some healthcare workers to take care of an aging
Speak for yourself,
generation.
Roger.
Oh, I am. I'm not implying anything.
No, really, it's true. No, we're living longer. And then some folks choose to go ahead and work a little bit longer, so like a lot of people I went to school with they're retiring now, and I just can't do it yet.
Well, I'm looking at about 2.5 more years or so, and I'm going to consider it. I'll be 60 in about 2 months, and but I'll still continue to work until I'm probably 65. But there's some things that I would like to do. I would like to bag groceries, for example, at my local supermarket to meet the community. there's so many people in my community I don't know. And I thought, what could I do to really meet the people I live with and I don't know them? I thought, bagging groceries, that would 6 months, a year of doing that.
Walmart greeter for me.
Okay. And I've had people say, you're crazy. Go from what you're doing and what you've worked hard for and bag groceries. I said, well, yeah, if that's what I want to do, it makes me happy. I tell people I'm one of those. If my son wanted to collect trash, I'd say, well, son, that's not my career choice, but if it's what you do, be the best trash collector you can be. Be the best one ever.
I've got to add something to that. If you get with it and stick with it, you've got retirement benefits. I mean, you've got to really look at those things as well. And it's not like it used to be. A lot of the trucks are automated and that kind of thing. So it's not just like the tech jobs are nowhere near. I used to work with GTE, and I was with them for a long time, number of years, when nobody had a cell phone. I was having to tell people what a cell phone was. So I worked with them for a long time. And so, but the thing about it is technology changes. Now I would go into, I had government and corporate accounts. So I would go into some of the manufacturing companies, and back in that day, I'm just telling you, Roger, there would be a big banner up at a manufacturing company that would say 5 days without an accident. And then I would look at the first five. And so I would say, do I need a hard hat on or something? I'm afraid to go in there, So that's how it used to be a long time ago. But those jobs are different now. I mean, they're cleaner than a lot of hospitals are. I mean, really, a lot of them are.
Well, so, we're so computer driven, and medicine is just going right down that path too. I have a patient portal at a hospital that I've used their facilities for some procedures, and I can connect, and I have my family physician to that same portal. We can bring it all together in one place. It's like we would have never dreamt of that years ago, not in a million years.
If my granddad could see me with a Bluetooth on right now talking with my husband, it looks like I'm talking to myself. It would say, you need some rest, honey.
I remember the very first of those that I saw at Walmart years and years ago, and I thought, maybe I need to call mental health services or something for these folks.
Driving down the road, talking to yourself, But we've learned a lot, and you guys are just on top of it. And I appreciate everything you guys do. A minute and a little bit less than a minute and a half left in this segment. I told you it'd fly by. So
now I've talked so much. I hope that you got to ask all the questions you intended to.
Absolutely. You guys are awesome. What would you like to tell the folks before you leave?
Oh my, be patient with us. We don't have as much of a problem in this area, but the long waits in ERs, for example, those folks are doing the best they can. As far as here at the college, we have wonderful, wonderful advisors and counselors. And if you're undecided on a career path, just Miss Sherry Wooten. Do you know Miss Wooten?
I sure do.
Sherry Wooten.
Yes, I do.
She can help people decide what a good career path would be for anybody who's undecided.
Absolutely. Roger, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been awesome. Are you related to the Wootens who sing?
Yeah, four note.
Yeah, the four note, because my grandmother used to sing Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Ider.
Of course you are. Yes. Okay. Roger, thank you for being on the show. And thank you guys.
Thank you.
You do. We love it.
Appreciate it. Okay. Thank you.
Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening.